Hello there, we are at the finale of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and whoops, didn't mean for that to happen. We are approaching the Wing Fortress Zone boss, which we didn't get to last part, but now we are. So we are nearing endgame, folks. After this, there is only one more zone, then we are done with the game. If you remember what I said last part, I did not complete this zone and Death Egg legitimately, but afterwards I did go back and beat Death Egg legitimately. It's actually not as hard as I thought it would have been. There's a cleverly disguised edit. Like it should win Edit of the Year in the videos. Anyway, what you're basically doing here is you're jumping on these platforms with the spikes on the bottom, and you're trying to hit the light at the top when it's glowing red. When it's glowing red and then blue like that, it's about to fire a laser, which you must dodge, and if it corners you into the wall, into one of the walls on the side, there's no hope in dodging it. Sometimes it'll fake you out like that. I'm not sure if that has to do with, like, your location and relativity to the laser. 'Cause I was pretty far there and it still did it, but maybe it's random, I don't know. Flying Battery in Sonic 3 and Knuckles would have a boss similar to this. It actually had two bosses. The first one was, I guess you could call it a throwback to this zone's boss. And Robotnik is fleeing in his rocket. Where could he be going? Spoiler alert, it's the Death Egg. Which is totally not the Death Star from Star Wars. And now Sonic will jump off and stow away to Robotnik's magnum opus, at least at this point in the games. He would bring this back in multiple other games in the classic era. I think he might have made the, what was it? Crystal Egg in one of the Game Gear games. And then in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, he brought it back and it was even bigger than ever. This zone's music is awesome, but you only hear it for 3 seconds. Literally 3 seconds. You could see that on the timer before the bosses begin. It would make awesome level music, which the Death Egg zone didn't get many platform level aspects of its own until the next game, Sonic 3, or technically Sonic and Knuckles, but you know, they're both one game, so why bother? Why bother like not acknowledging that? Editing. So Silver Sonic is really nothing to talk about. Yeah, here's where I started using save states. Somewhat regretfully. Silver Sonic, he pretty much moves back and forth, either jumping, spin dashing, or just dashing, or a combination of those. The Death Egg robot here, you want to hit him when his claws are in a position where they can't hurt you. A good strategy, which I discovered after this recording, is to run and jump from the other side of the screen, and don't get him in a don't get him in a position where it's really hard to dodge the rocket arms, because then even if you jump on him, you can still land on the other claw that he's shooting out, or the other one, or the first one that he launched as it comes back, like that. That was well timed. Or stuff like that can happen. He has another attack which I never show off because I never end up behind him. That was a stupid death. That is, if you're behind him, he'll fire bombs in your direction. I don't think I've even seen that attack in like other playthroughs of this boss on YouTube. So I would just say dodge him, because I'm not sure how the pattern will work. So pretty much the pattern is he will walk forward a little bit, like he is right now, and then do his little, he'll walk back, then go in the air, and then try to lock onto you, then come back. Then if you're in front of him, he'll use the rocket fist. If you're behind him, he'll do the bombs. It's not that hard of a boss, though it can definitely give newbies a problem if they're not expecting it. I know it definitely was a pain for me. I don't know how true this is, but apparently this boss is a lot harder with Knuckles. Because his jump isn't high enough, and it's just a lot more difficult with him. I really like the final boss music. It's like a military march. Again, this whole game's soundtrack kicks ass. I think we're coming up on the final hit. Nope, not quite. There we go. It may not have been legitimate, but like I said before, I did actually go back and beat him the right way without save states after I finished this recording, just to validate myself. Here we have our little ending cutscene, if you can call it that. A lot of people like the ending, which obviously I thought. A lot of people like the bad ending more than the supersonic ending, because it's like, you'll see it here, but it's more like Tails saves Sonic. And the supersonic ending, he just flies on there and just it comes across as, I just like the bad ending better, because it's more like Tails is there to help him. Oh yeah, I remember now. In Supersonic's ending, he just flies down. This ending song right here would get remixed in the atrocity that is Sonic 2006. Such a terrible game. Even though I've only played it at a friend's house once, and I didn't even get past the egg Cerberus. So I myself can't speak for the game's quality, but I've seen it like God knows how many times on YouTube, and I can attest that it is bad. So yeah, that's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. In a lot of ways, well, I come back to this game a lot more than I come back to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Don't get me wrong though, both are fantastic games. It's just, I feel like this game doesn't drag like Sonic 3 and Knuckles can. Sure, the badniks can be a bit dickish at times, but music kicks ass. What matters is that this is it's a real improvement over the original in pretty much every way. Music's great, there's no speed cap like there was in the first game, it's a lot more colorful, level design's better, much more fleshed out, despite the fewer number of acts in each zone. Sure, Tails can mess you up, but he gets better. I will tell you, he gets better too. In Sonic 3 Knuckles, he actually gets the ability to fly on his own. In this game, he can only fly if he was catching up to you, and if you played as Tails alone, you couldn't even fly at all, which is kind of messed up. They do give him the ability to fly, but only later in the Taxman version of the game. Maybe in Sonic Jam as well. I don't remember. But if you don't like Tails messing you up, there's always the option to play as Sonic alone, or Tails alone. Tails does not get a super form, at least not in this game. Knuckles does if you play as him locked on to Sonic and Knuckles. I did a video on that, actually, on the Mega Collection, but I took it down because I said some pretty rude things in that video that I kind of regret. But yeah, that's a pretty neat game in and of itself, as is this one. If you haven't played it, I really suggest you try it. It's one of my one of my favorite Genesis games. I know that's not saying much, considering I haven't played much aside from Sonic on the Genesis. But trust me, it's a really great time, and every gamer deserves to experience it at least once. So yeah, I like how I just stopped it right there when Sonic was running past the Sega logo. I'm not sure what the next Sonic LP will be. Obviously, I still haven't finished Sonic Battle yet. Although that may change. Whew. I am Jinzo Fighter, and I will see you later.